Welcome to another episode of the Move.Talk.Thrive podcast. Well, we are definitely halfway through the year. We are beyond halfway through. Both Emily and I are feeling it. We feel like our teams are feeling it. Energy is waning. So we thought it was a good time to just stop, pause, check in, and just talk about how we are going to get to the end of the year in one piece. Things are moving pretty fast these days, so I think it's really important for us to stop and just check in with ourselves and keep each other accountable for how we're feeling and what we're putting in place to prevent any instances of burnout. Now, I also have some super exciting news. It's actually not my news, it's Emily's news, and I cannot wait to talk about it and share it with you. So, with that being said, let's get started to this episode and hear what's been going on.
We are child development obsessed, business besties, and mums, and we're here to spill all our secrets.
We have a combined 30 years experience working with children, and each episode we will bring you up-to-date research and evidence-based strategies to set your children up to thrive.
I'm Lizzy Dawson, Australian exercise physiologist.
I'm Emily Mackie, Australian speech pathologist,
And this is the Move.Talk.Thrive podcast.
So, big news, Em. What is it? I'm dying to know.
We're having another baby.
Woo!
Baby number 3. Baby
Oh my
Mackie, number
gosh.
3.
Talking
Yeah.
about burnout.
Yeah, no, right? Let's add a baby
So
into the
funny.
mix and see how it goes.
Oh, it's so
So,
exciting.
yeah, big announcement for everyone. I am having another baby in February next year.
Oh,
Oh.
so how far does that make you then?
So
Now?
I'm just past 3 months, just past
Lovely.
the 6th stage. If anyone's listening to this and they've had a baby, they know that the first 3 months is generally pretty horrendous, as it has been for me. If you don't have a baby now, you know that the first 3 months is
Not
constant. Well,
fun.
it's different for every woman though, right? I just had constant nausea 24/7.
I think it's actually different every pregnancy. So, like,
Yes.
I just think, like with my second, I was sick the whole way through, like literally until
Mm.
giving birth. So,
Oh.
if yours has like faded, just rejoice in that.
Oh,
Enjoy that.
absolutely. I couldn't even function. I've been going to bed, like you're exhausted. So I've been going
Yeah.
to bed at 7 o'clock. If I can go to bed earlier, I will. But obviously, having two other children, it's a bit
Mhm.
difficult. 7 p.m. every night, getting a full 12 hours, waking up still tired. Um, and then just tired because you've just got constant nausea. So 2 a.m. you wake up nauseous, 6 a.m. nauseous, 2 p.m. nauseous. Like,
Oh, so brutal, isn't it?
but it is very exciting now that I have come out of that and got a little bit more energy. The second trimester is always quite good for me. Um, First trimester is horrendous, second trimester is good, and then third trimester, it is okay, but you're just struggling because you're so big. But
Yeah, but you're on the home straight, so I feel like that's kind of comforting, isn't it? I
right?
feel like at the
Yeah.
start, you're like, oh my God, I'm not even showing. I don't even like it's so new. It's kind of can be a little bit scary as well. And then you feel rotten and I feel like the fatigue is so bad. Like you're just
Yeah,
so tired.
it's real. It's real. It's very real. And then you still
So
have to keep
how
going.
have you been managing your like epic load of mum and business and feeling nauseous and tired?
Um, with difficulty, I would
Yeah.
say. With difficulty, it is hard. But you just have to listen to your body, right? And you just have to be like,
Mm.
it is what it is. I cannot bring my best. So I've just had to really lay low with a lot of my work tasks and push projects back. And a lot of the projects are things that I really want to do. Uh, but in the last 3 months, I've just had no motivation. So I'm like, I've just got to listen to myself,
Mm.
listen to my body, listen to my mind. there's no point trying to slog it out for the principle of slogging it out. And I've just got to be okay with putting things back. And so, like with my social media team, I had all these sort of new master classes and resources that I wanted to put out. And I just said to them, I'm gonna have to put it back by like 2 to 3 months and just be okay with that. And that's really hard when you're like an entrepreneur, business owner, and you like helping people and getting things done. Um, it's really, really hard to do. So even in that, like even in listening to my body, that's difficult to delegate and put things back. But it
Mm,
has been difficult with the kids because, they're very dependent on me. They're very little still. But you just try to be the best self, the best version of yourself that you can, and that's where I feel all the personal development comes in. And you understand
mm,
like where your energy needs to be going and where you need to be conserving your energy. So I've had like no social life because I've just been trying to conserve that for what's most important, which is the kids or my family, and just moving a
mm,
lot slower and just saying to the kids, like, I just need to like lay down on the lounge, which I never do normally.
mm.
Just give me 5 minutes. Do they listen? No, but that's okay. That's okay. That's all right. Um, but it has been difficult, yeah, to have low energy and low everything. But that's okay. It
Yeah.
was so rewarding when I had my scan a couple of weeks ago and I saw a baby for the first time. Like,
Oh,
after the dating scan, saw the baby in the ultrasound. I was like, oh, there's the baby. Okay. It puts
so
it into
nice to
perspective,
connect
all your
that way.
sickness.
Hey.
Yeah, yeah. Because, you're sort of having this sickness and you're not really have anything to show for it. And then when you see the baby on
Totally.
the ultrasound, you're like, oh, okay. That's why. That's why.
Yeah.
So again, like with
And are
everything, it's just
you
a
gonna find out what you're having?
no, it's gonna be a surprise.
You are
Surprise.
unbelievable. I could
We
not do that.
well, we've done it both ways. We didn't find out with Evie, and then we
Yeah.
found out with Isabel. So we've done it both ways, and we decided we liked it not knowing. Like, because we knew with
Mm.
Isabel that she was a girl, but yeah, we just preferred it with Evie, not knowing.
Like more exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, more exciting, I think. And yeah. So we'll see. We could have 3 girls, which Mackie has accepted, you know.
Well, hopefully, because I
Yes,
feel
he's
like that's kind of a
accepted, or we
crucial
could have
step.
2 girls and a boy. So we'll see. We will
Mm.
see, but it's very exciting. So for me now, I'm trying to figure out, okay, how do I shift priorities? How do I shift goals?
Mm.
What am I doing? Um, and how am I going to make this work? Again, obviously it's third time round, so I'm not a rookie. I'm not a rookie to this. But it's always pivoting and going, all right, what are we going to do? Which is,
Well, yeah, and I think it's about kind of going, like it's quite fitting with this topic that we're going to talk about today, which is like just checking in and what can you do now to prevent yourself from burning out. It's just that forward planning and really being protective of your energy and your family time, right? Like it's just prioritizing, I think.
yes.
I think there's nothing quite like having a baby that makes you get ready for that and get your systems in place. Like you and I have said so many times, and I think it's going to be so cool to keep recording this podcast and unpacking like real time the things that you're going through and the thoughts that you're having and the strategies that you're calling on because we have both said like we both started businesses when we had newborn babies so
Mm.
I feel like no pressure obviously to start another business but it'll
No.
be, I just think that you basically get everything off your plate that you don't need to have on your plate, which gives you time to think. And I think it's a really special time for that.
Mm. Mm. We both have started businesses, haven't we, in baby season? That is not
Yeah.
my plan this time round. Not, but it was never the plan before,
Don't want
right?
another the business baby as well as a third
No.
child.
I know. Well, I feel like it was really good starting like the businesses when I did, having Evie and then having Isabel. It was really good to do that because I look back now, I think, oh, that was a really good use of time because I only had one child. When you've got two or three children, I know that when you have one child, like it feels like, oh, I have no time, and it feels like such a big thing. And it is a big thing. But when you're onto the second or third, you look back and think, I had so much time when I had one child.
Mm.
So I'm so glad that we both did that when we had one child and then the second. But I don't know what it's going to be like for the third in terms of time because you've then added three kids into the mix. Whereas, when you have one child, you only had one child. So, and I think
Totally.
as well, you're a little bit naive, do you reckon? Because when you've got one child, you don't know what's ahead of you. So you just we just jumped into creating something new, these businesses, they've worked out for us. But now I have Evie who will be 6, and I'm like, oh, I know sort of what's involved. I know what's involved with starting a new business. I know what's involved with having kids. Oh, you're not as naive anymore. Do you think
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, totally. Well, I
There's a
even
little bit
think
more
like
thought
when I
process.
was like before I had kids, I thought I was so busy because I had a business. And I remember
Yeah.
my sister just going, "Oh my gosh, you've got no idea." And then I had one, child, that baby that slept really, really well. And they were
Mm.
like, "You've got no idea." And then when I had two, I was like, "Oh my God,
I
this
have
is what
some idea.
everyone, this is what everyone's talking about."
Yeah.
Has
Yeah.
anyone told you any horror stories? Have you told many people?
Yeah, like most of our family and friends know and the people around us. Yeah.
Yeah. And does anyone, how like when you announce a pregnancy, you just hear all these like horror stories, and I feel like it won't be that because this is your third child, but I do wonder, like if I was to have another one, people would say, "Oh, three children, da 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 da."
Not too much. I feel like that maybe happened more with the first and second, but with
Yeah,
the third one, everyone's more just like, oh, so how are you gonna do that with everything else that you do? Well, I haven't figured it out yet.
yeah,
I'll figure it out. But I think that's literally what we've done every single time. I've never had a solid plan. My plan has been, okay, I know I'll have a bit of time off, but I don't know how much time because I don't know what I'll be feeling or capable of. And you sort of just go like that, right? You don't have too much of a plan in place and just hold it pretty loosely and just have a bit of flexibility and zero expectations. Um,
yeah. I think that's the way to do it. I think if you're flexible with yourself, then you give yourself space to experience whatever is happening. Because I think it's too hard.
yeah,
Like you don't know if your baby's going to sleep, your baby's, not sleep. Like all the,
yeah,
all the things. Like you don't know. It's even like pregnancy.
yeah,
I
yeah.
felt terrible my entire pregnancy. I felt horrendous with Marley. I had prenatal depression. It was terrible. But then I was totally fine afterwards. And I
Mm.
think because of that, I was like, right, I'm not having any scheduled meetings for 12 months. I'm not having any scheduled work for 12 months. I'm taking this time off. And you can call me if you need me, and I'll get back to you when I'm available. And it forced me into having this flexibility with myself and just kind of letting go. And that was really, really good because I actually then I had that flexibility, but I also felt really well and really happy, and I was really good. So it was a really nice experience
Mm.
during that time. And I think with Flynn, with my first, like I felt good during the pregnancy. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to work on Tuesdays and I'm going to have this meeting and this meeting. And even though he was a really easy baby, it was horrendous because it was like he would, wake up 10 minutes earlier in his 3 hour nap during the day. And I was like, oh my God. Whereas Marley didn't sleep at all. But because I had the flexibility,
Yeah.
I
I
was
think
fine.
even
Like I was
Marley's
fine.
better, right? Marley's was better having that flexibility from memory.
Definitely. He was a much harder baby. Like didn't sleep as well, but I was I was good because I was just, I don't know, I just felt grounded. Like I just had, again, it was just like the priorities. I like just handed
Mm,
everything off and went, okay, because I felt so poorly during pregnancy, I was just like, that's it. And I had like a proper break beforehand as well.
mm,
I made sure I had that beforehand. So
But if
yeah,
you're listening to this and you aren't having a baby, you should still take the principles of what we're saying, right? Like we're saying that
exactly.
we felt like having a baby made us really productive and really like opened up new doors and pathways for us because it forced us to delegate. We both look back and think it shouldn't have taken a baby to do that. Like it did, but we should have actually got to that point without a baby. And imagine if we had, right? Gotten to that point without a baby, what we could have then achieved and done. Well, hindsight's a beautiful thing, right? But the
Yeah.
principle is, and like you said, it's time with what we're talking about with burnout is looking at reevaluating our tasks, reevaluating what we're doing, who we're doing it with, how we're doing things, and is this still productive and conducive for helping me achieve what I want to achieve, right? Which is what a baby forces you to do, or getting married or anything like that.
Or a big holiday. Yeah, something with it.
Mm.
It's just a deadline, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
it's a
just with the
deadline.
baby, the priorities are so, it's just so clear and I think probably clear and a bit unknown that you go, right, I need to figure this out so that I can completely switch off.
Hmm. Hmm. And that's what we should be doing without a baby to give ourselves grace for a holiday or a break to
Yeah.
not burn out, which is what we said we're talking about,
Yeah,
which is this mid-year
exactly.
burnout.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about this, me and Lizzie. Um, and then we've heard this a lot as well, like when is burnout most apparent? Like what are people feeling? And it's always in this mid-year slump, isn't it? So we're sort of past that
Just
July.
after.
Around
Yeah,
July, August, if you've got a whole year, it always hits around this time. Maybe not burnout, like full burnout, but exhaustion, which is burnout, isn't it?
exhaustion
Tiredness.
and I think to be honest, just like the number of bugs going around, like I think sickness
Mm,
is the incidence of sick leave is much higher and I think like if I look at my teams like no one's really taken decent breaks until this point and
okay.
something I've always done because I'm quite prone to burnout is I go okay when do I typically burn out in a year and usually it's around this August time and so I've been really intentional this year about taking my breaks at Easter and June, July. And I actually feel okay. I've been a little bit sick this week, but I
Hmm.
feel pretty good considering I'm training for a marathon. I'm
Mm,
been, had a fairly full-on year. From in terms of energy, I feel better than I have in previous years. But in saying that, as I said to you before we got on, I felt burnt out in March. So I think it's just well, for one, it's knowing that it's all short-lived, right? Like you can shift your energy. It's if you are feeling unmotivated, tired, like at the end, you can shift that. And sometimes it's just putting in a 4-day weekend. And I
mm,
quite honestly believe 4 days is where my magic is. In terms of having a break. And that's what I've tried to stick to this year instead of trying to go, which I used to go, okay, I'm going to take the whole school holidays off which I
mm,
can't do anymore because Pete is working. He used to be a teacher, so he'd have school holidays off. He's
mm,
now working, so he can't take leave, and we're running the holiday program at Kids Heart Pilates, so it's actually busier than midterm.
mm,
So I have been, just limiting, taking the pressure off having a bigger holiday, which I think has meant that I like go and I'm like intentional about getting off my phone, not working, because I'm like, this is just a short break. I need to be real, I really need to disconnect during this time.
mm,
And that
mm.
seems to have really helped me.
Yeah, and it's having those it's regularly, right? So
Yeah.
I found every 3 months, once every 3 months, we need to
Yeah.
have a
Once a
little
quarter.
break. Yeah, which is once a quarter. Yeah. Um, it's interesting that you say like the short break actually felt you had you feeling more refreshed because you were just
Mm.
like, I'm intentionally disconnecting. I found that to be the same with me just recently. And so I'm really surprised because normally we would always have like 3 weeks off, or like, so in January we'd do 3 or 4 weeks off. And then we do 2 weeks off or and 3 weeks because I was always like, oh, if we're going to have a holiday, we may as well make it like a decent holiday if we're going overseas or something like that. Whereas this year, we were like, no, let's just do a week. Or I think we ended up doing like a week and a bit. And so well, one, I left my phone charger at home. So I was like, by mistake, who does that on a holiday, right? And I could charge it through the car, but then we weren't driving. So I just was having it off most of the time and I turn it on to take photos and then I turn it off again. But that was like an amazing surprise because it really made me switch off. And I was not like, where's my phone? I need my phone or anything like that. Like we were just so busy and with the kids, I wasn't thinking about it. But I was so refreshed and it was just a 5 day break. And both Mackie and I think because I wasn't on my phone, he wasn't on his phone because I was like
Mm.
talking to
Did he
him.
not have a charger?
Yeah, but he's Samsung and I'm Apple.
Oh,
That's
weird.
just, yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
a whole
right, right.
nother
He
story.
gets paid out at work all the time for having Android. Everyone else is like, what's wrong with you? But, but, um, I just, I felt so refreshed. And I said to him, it feels like we've been away for a month and we've only been away for 7 days. But it was
Mm.
just the mental break was amazing. And just you get into habits where you're not looking at your phone before you go to sleep. You're not waking up and getting your phone. You're not then, say I'm with the kids and they go on a playground. I might sit down and then look at my phone. Like none of that was
Mm.
happening. And so I think it forced me to be more present in the moment and just to have clear space in my mind. And it not like I was thinking about anything in particular, but it just like declutters your mind. Because when you're on your phone, there's always new information going in, cluttering it all up.
Yeah,
And so I found that that's actually been really effective too for me, like having a really short break, which you think, well, that wouldn't be enough. But it's the mental quality of the break that actually
totally.
determines whether
And I
whether you have a break or not.
And I feel like when you have a shorter break, you are much more intentional about that because it's only a short break. So you're like, I'm only away for a week. So I should
Yep.
be able to switch off for a week. Like I shouldn't need to check my emails
Mm.
in one week. Like
Nothing's going
this,
to go to dire straits in a week. Whereas if you're away
yeah.
for 3 weeks, you sort of fall into that trap. Oh, I better check. I'm away for a long
Mm.
time. You know, I'll get into the holiday soon. You know?
Yeah, I'm going to America in October for 3 weeks, so I'm a little bit nervous. I'm kind of treating it a little bit like like a baby because I need to have everything sorted so that I can go and have a break. So I'm making sure that I've got my two ICs like locked and loaded, systems in place, so that no one's kind of depending on me. I still process pays, which is a bit frustrating, but I feel like what I will do and what I've done in the past is I'll check in on a Thursday, I'll do the pays, I'll check in my emails for anything urgent, and then I will then go on another week leave, if that makes sense.
Mm.
Uh, but yeah, I'm a bit nervous about it because we had kind of planned this and then I stumbled on the short holiday thing and I was like, oh, the short holiday thing. I really like the short holiday thing and now I'm going away for 3 weeks. What am I going to do? I don't know. It's
Maybe you just chunk it up into be like four
yeah.
days and then get back in
Yeah,
and
that's
then
what I'll do. I'll do the Thursday check-in and do my pays and then I'll yes, and I'll switch off. I'll be like, right, I'm on
but
another
just to
break.
clarify, you're not having a baby, are you?
No, I am not having a baby.
I
I'm
thought I
going
better
to New
just
York and
qualify.
I'm doing a marathon.
I thought I better just qualify that because you're like, oh, I'm treating this as a baby.
No.
But you're just doing what we've said at the start, which is putting the principle in place and trying
Yeah.
to actually achieve what you and I both achieved, having a baby, but without having a baby.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's the whole like what's the book? Is it
Mentality.
Clockwork?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, clockwork, and it's all about
by
getting
Mike.
systems in
Yeah.
place so that you can go overset, like you can go away basically as the
Yeah.
owner of the business. But I feel like it's a very similar principle to having a baby,
Yes.
in that it's a deadline. So you're like, okay, I need
Yes.
to get everything sorted by this time.
Yes.
So no, no more babies for me.
Because otherwise, it's not worth going on holidays and going and doing that whole thing if you feel like then it's just too stressful because you're having to work while you're trying to then have a holiday. Like you may as well just like, I should just stay at home, which you and I
Yeah,
have both
it's stressful.
experienced before.
Yeah.
So, so yeah. So if we're talking about like we've discovered this little holiday break work, so like having a break, right? But having a
Yeah.
mental break is important. I always find that I'm thinking, right, I want to be able to get to Christmas, like from now to Christmas, but then not get to Christmas and be completely exhausted and not enjoy my Christmas break and January break. And so we always then try to schedule in a little holiday in November or October. I think November, like beginning of November, because December gets quite hectic when you have your business and you're trying to
Mm.
organize lots of different things, plus family and kids. And I always find that if I don't schedule something in October, November, then we get to December and I'm like, oh my gosh, now I've got to do Christmas and I'm really feeling exhausted. So that has worked for us in the like last few years is to do that. And
Mm.
I think it's the short little break that we have at that time as
Mm.
well. So we're talking about
Yeah,
breaks.
yeah. I feel like it's interesting. I used to say I want to get to the holidays without being really, really exhausted. And then I was like, okay, I want to get to the weekend without being really exhausted. And now I'm like, okay, I want to get to the end of the day without feeling really exhausted. And I think even that sort of mindset, if because we're kind of constantly going, okay, what do I need to do today to get to 5 o'clock and not be so exhausted that I can't interact with my family and I
Mm,
just want to go to bed. Because that's like
mhm.
I've been zombie land like at dinner time so many times,
Mm.
which is just rubbish, really, isn't it? So
Yeah, you
I
don't want
think
to be
it's
doing
just
that.
about, yeah. I mean, it's kind of like getting your values a bit, they're a bit skewy, right? So I think for me that has definitely helped. So yeah, the frequent breaks and then just getting that energy management plan in terms of how I can manage myself day to day, week to week, month to month. And I think we talked a bit more about that in our actual burnout episode.
Mhm.
So I guess what what I think we should kind of get to is what can we be doing between now and Christmas? So we've said, that the short holiday, you're having the pre-Christmas holiday, which I think is a great idea. How do you do that with school?
We just normally go like 4 days or a weekend.
Yeah.
It's nothing major. It would be like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So it's not too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, are we 5 months from Christmas?
Yeah, about that. It's August when we're recording this. September, October, November, December, 4 months.
Yeah.
Four
So
months.
everyone should be having at least one short break before
Yeah.
Christmas.
You could even do it like a Friday night, Saturday, Sunday. I think that's
Yeah.
fine because what we're talking about is having a mental break. And what does
Yeah.
that look like for you will be different for everyone. It could be going to a nice location. It could just be staying at home and chilling. And prioritizing maybe even in that a few quiet weekends, not just one weekend.
100%. Yeah.
But as we come into warmer weather in spring, like obviously we've sort of probably been in a little bit of hibernation or whatnot, but it's making sure that we're prioritizing, like we've spoken about before, like our health. So exercise, I think, is a big one. So we're not talking about like Lizzie run a marathon because like she's of the elite.
No,
But
no,
me,
I'm
I
not.
I
But it's crazy. Yeah.
I was running and then I obviously fell pregnant, so I haven't been doing a lot. But if it's just a stroll, getting out in the sunshine helps you so much. Getting a bit of fresh air with spring, even going for walks on your lunch breaks at work as a daily
Yes.
thing or every second day, getting out into the sun, sitting and eating your lunch in the sun, that makes such a big difference, I feel like on a daily. Even then, on a weekly, if you're exercising or having a little break, obviously, in a longer term scope of things. What else do you think helps you, Lizzie, or help you between now and
Um, Look, I actually think that crazily, like I don't think my marathons training is it's just about to go into like full crazy town kilometer building. But up until this point, I've been doing 3 runs a week. I actually have never felt like I've had more energy. It's like quite remarkable to look back at last year when I was running last year. But I think work was quite stressful for me last year, and I literally was having 2 hours sleeps on both days of the weekend, even if I hadn't have exercised. And I was talking to my friend on the weekend. She's like, "Yeah, weren't you saying that you needed a nap at 11 a.m.?" And I'm like, "Yeah, so weird." And now I'm training, like doing a 20 to 22K run. I've got 25K run this weekend, and I won't have a nap during, like,
because
I
that's
won't have a nap in
exercise,
that.
right? It's good for you. You're training, you're building up your stamina. It's all the you would know more about it than I don't need to speak about it, but all the
Yeah,
positive
it's
things that
interesting.
come with it.
Well, I'm also exercising because it's longer kilometers. I'm exercising at an intensity where I can go for longer. So I think that exercise intensity is a really important aspect to consider, like having bouts of higher intensity, which is going to help with our fitness and our
Mm.
that higher end and what's it called? Anaerobic fitness. And then you've got your lower intensity, which is going to be less taxing. But I think for me, something that I do, and I do it every quarter in my quarterly planning, is I just do like an energy stock take of in the last 3 months, what has drained me of energy,
Mm.
what has been really good for my energy. And then I make sure that I've got a schedule in place that kind of balances that out. So if for example, running meetings really, really drains me because I feel like I'm having to perform and I just really don't like it. Uh, and then getting deep work, I'll get lots of energy from that. So I just make sure that I can balance those days out. So if I've got a day full of meetings, and I try to get a day full of meetings, so all of them are in one day, but I make sure that I'm going to the gym in the afternoon and I've just joined this new gym in Brisbane and it's got the like a rooftop wellness precinct
Mm.
with like steam room, sauna, snow room, salt
Mm.
room. Like
Mm.
it is amazing. And it's one of my in this quarterly plan just recently, I was like, okay, this year I want to join this gym. And I got home from that quarterly plan and joined the next day. And I've got it in my schedule 3 days a week, and it's in and around, the days that are big, but it's being like intentional about that time because honestly, if I don't do that, I probably will just work.
Mm. Hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
So it's about just making sure that I'm scheduling like I would schedule work.
Hmm.
I'm scheduling in my self-care. I've got my running, that's like quite energy expensive, but it also boosts my energy.
Yeah.
So I need to make sure that I've got some things in there that kind of give me energy that are not energy taxing as well. Because I find that's the tricky thing with exercise. We always kind of encourage people to exercise. Whilst it does give us energy, it does also use quite a bit of energy.
Mm.
So I kind of put that into the pile of, yes, this is a non-negotiable. It gives me so much energy, but I know if I do too much of that,
Yeah.
it's going to cause me problems because it's going to deplete me essentially. So
Yeah.
it's I think balancing it out.
That's a good point. On my Garmin watch, like if I go for a run, it will say like body battery. So it will say your
Mm,
body is like, like lost this energy or whatever, which is fine. But then
mm,
say I then sit for 20 minutes, it will say your body battery might have been recharged. And it's actually helped me have awareness. Oh, like, yes, I have exercised. This was before I fell pregnant. Yes, I was running, and that's really good for me. But I also do need to do some things to then recharge that energy. So, yes,
yeah.
I do think that's a really important point about having activities there that will boost that, like whether it's the sauna, spa, which we have spoken a lot in different episodes about, and even interviewed Bridget from City Cave about all that. But that's a really good distinction. And it sort of doesn't matter what workplace you're in, you can always schedule these in before hours, after hours, lunch breaks,
Yeah, totally.
weekends. If you're a morning person, night person, it can work around your rhythms, can't it?
Yeah, for sure. For
Yeah.
sure. And you know what? Just thinking about what you were saying about your holiday and not having your phone, it can be as simple as having a phone-free day. Like just going, okay, I'm not going to look at my phone on Sundays or whatever you can manage. I feel like I'm going to do that because my phone habits have been like just crept up a little bit lately. I'm
Okay.
not sure
Yeah.
why.
We always
So
need
I
to
think, and I just think
reevaluate
that
our phone
you're
habits.
saying essentially that that holiday was because, one, you're on holiday, but two, you didn't have a phone. You
I
weren't
didn't have a
using your
phone.
phone.
And I didn't have a choice. I was like, I want to take photos of the kids, so I have to conserve my battery. And so if I
Yeah.
turned it on, normally I'd open up Instagram or Facebook or emails, and I was like, I can't because it's going to take the battery. I've only got 30% or something like that. So
Yeah.
it was actually, but I didn't find myself missing it. I wasn't like, there's
Mm.
something lacking in my life. I think, that was a big realization as well on coming back home and then going, oh, I didn't really miss too much. Like I miss like a couple of pregnancy announcements from my friends and things on Facebook.
Mm.
But then I found out about them when I saw them in life,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not missing
Exactly.
too much. And I didn't feel like something was missing. Like it wasn't, I mean, I'm generally not on my phone a lot for personal reasons. Like I am for
Mm.
work, but I wasn't like, I was having withdrawals or anything like that, or I'm not coping or I was lacking anything. And I think that's a big realization as well. Like if you don't have your phone or iPad or a technology, is your life going to be less? Oh, I don't think so. Yeah. Anyway, if you have never done it, we would challenge you to try it, whether it's an afternoon or a couple of hours, or it might just be like not having your phone straight away in the morning or not having your phone before you go to bed. It's just little
It might
habits and
even be turning your phone on silent,
yeah,
like just
taking
turning your
taking some
messages off.
notifications off. Yeah. So phone free, having a bit of a break. And so obviously we're talking a lot about here about mental stuff. So prioritizing mental health, which is, we burn out when we have that mental fatigue and too many of the cortisol and the stress hormones. So we need to sort of minimize that for the rest of the year. Looking after our health, exercising. For me, it's also about the right connections. So having,
Mm.
the right chats or the right spending time with people who are just the right, like energy building people, not energy draining people. So that will be different for everyone, like what that looks like. But just having some nice quality time there with the people that you love and get a lot of energy from, that's probably a big one for me. And being intentional about that.
Absolutely. I think that's probably one of the most important ones.
Yeah, yeah. So it could be your
Think.
family, friends, girlfriends, like whatever that looks like, mentors, even in a work setting, bosses or whatnot. Um, and then maybe doing hobbies, like,
Mm.
so having a break mentally, but then doing something that you really love or that you're really passionate about and making sure that you're doing that consistently. Because sometimes when life gets busy, and particularly around November, December, with work being busy and then also personal life, a lot of that stuff can go by the wayside. But it can also like give us a lot of enjoyment and a bit of mental break as well. So I don't know, people have so many different hobbies. But for me, it's like reading or cooking, things like
Mm.
that, which tend to go when I'm at my most busiest, but probably when I need it the most. What's
Yeah,
your hobbies,
totally.
Lizzie? Reading? No.
Reading, definitely
Yeah.
love reading. Obviously exercising, my bathhouse. I
Yeah.
love going for walks with friends. I really like gardening and cleaning up and doing last weekend I did the pressure cleaning of the
Oh,
concrete and
so
outside.
therapeutic.
Love it. I quite like organizing my cupboards. I actually have just got the next few weekends where I don't have anything on. I think we've got a football breakup this weekend, but outside of that, I don't have anything on for weeks, like till I think till the school holidays.
Oh,
And
that's
that's a really,
amazing.
really nice feeling. Yeah, I feel like we were really busy for a few weeks and now I've got nothing on and I'm just like, I can like just, just kind of chill and do some nice things with the family. I actually also really like drawing, like
Yeah.
pencil drawing. I haven't done that in a really long time. I was just listening to you when you mentioned hobbies. I'm like, you know what? I should put that in my schedule because I've got all the stuff and I should do that on a Friday. So on a Friday's my like bit of catch up day, home day. And I've scheduled in like house stuff. So, because what I end up doing is I'm home and I'm like, I'm just going to work because it feels better
Yeah.
to work than I get overwhelmed with the house.
Yeah.
But I've created a bit of a schedule of things that I can do each week. I don't know. I feel like I might be a bit too scheduled, but it's
Maybe
still just
having an
being,
unscheduled day.
I know, but then I feel like I end up working. So I feel like I kind of almost need to schedule something outside of work. Um, but yeah, I think, you know, the other thing I think that's important is just being able to manage our time in work as well. And I think we
Mm,
talked about that in our reports podcast about being, intentional with our time at work around reports and notes. And maybe having conversations with supervisors if you feel like that's
mm,
not being supported potentially, or you feel like you're not able to manage your time, you need help with managing your time. I think that that's quite important because I think you need to switch off from work when you go home. And
mm,
most of the things that we're talking about is things that we can do outside of work. And I think,
mm,
yeah, I think the things in work, like if there's something that's stressing you out, having someone to talk to about that and have a mentor that you're working with to unpack, complex clients and just yeah, I think getting on top of that workload is really, really important to preventing burnout and then doing all of these things in your own time, which you are like have the most control over, is probably that's like the foundations. That's how you should be living your life. I think something I do and I just did, which is why I got my gym membership, was okay, what are my 12-month plans for myself? What life do I want to be living? And it's like, how can I be living that right now? How can I be kind of living this elevated life right now? And what would Liz, who's living that dream life in 12 months, what would she be doing today? And that's not like trying to fit as much work in and ticking everything off and feeling bad about, I don't know, X, Y, and Z. It's about taking intentional breaks and sitting down when I'm having lunch and switching off. And
mm.
I'm going to the gym this afternoon after this podcast, and I'm going on a date night with Pete tonight. Like all of those things are going to ensure that I go to bed tonight feeling pretty happy and good. And I get to the weekend with a bit of energy as well, which,
Yeah.
that's the big picture, isn't it?
That's important when you have kids. You can't then just have a hectic week and then you get to the weekend and you're like, I have either got to pull from like empty or negative reserves, you know? So that's really
Yeah.
important.
Or
Yeah.
have
I think
2 hour
that's a,
naps both days. Like that should have
yeah.
been the biggest red flag. Yeah. Anyway.
I think that's a really good perspective to have. That's really good thinking. And yeah, if the time management is everything, right? If you're not managing your time at work, then generally that flows into your personal life, but then work flows into your personal life. And that's so important. You just said it so well. So well what you just said then.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
maybe we should do a bit more of an episode on that time management, maybe, and exploring that at
Mm.
work if people are finding that that's tricky. Because it's something that you and I probably like it was a little bit natural, but we had to learn a lot as well and figure it out ourselves and put a lot in place. So maybe that's something that we can talk about a bit more if people are finding that work is spilling over into home life.
Yeah.
Um,
I think it's a
yeah,
really important piece when you're going into leadership. I think you start to
yeah,
manage your time a lot better. And I think that's it's really good practices to have because you start to give yourself deadlines, you start to be accountable to what you put down for. And it's not, if I think if you can trade, how important client time is for how important notes are and how important reports are and how important the gym is and how important, date night is. And it's the same, it's all kind of leveled out the same. Then, and I mean, honestly, with some priority in there as well,
mm.
then I think, you can you can live that aligned life.
And that's values, like living by your values and what you
Yeah.
want from your life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's for me, finishing the day with some energy for my family. Like
yeah.
it's pretty simple. And all I have to do for that is have some breaks during the day and make sure I'm eating well and I'm
Mm.
exercising.
Yep. Yep. Because you figured out what you need, right? For
Mm.
everyone, it will be different, but yes. So, hopefully, the tips of maybe how to get over that mid-year slump. If you have any other tips, we'd love to hear. If you want to send us a message or what works for you or what you think would be helpful for someone else, we always would be happy to share on the podcast. Um, But we really do hope that you do take some time to reflect and maybe ask yourself some pivotal questions so that you can have a really great another 4 months to be safe, 4 months left of the year till Christmas. And the goal would be that you get to Christmas and you feel energized to have a break. Most people have a break over Christmas, spend some time with their family and their kids, but also that you are feeling energized on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. Um, so jot down, have a reflection time after this episode, jot down some points. If you have any questions about baby, write in babies,
So
anything to do with babies,
exciting.
or if you would like an episode, maybe we haven't really chatted more about maternity stuff, have we? Or baby stuff. I don't know if people would be interested in that because, we both started things and whatnot. Anyway, if you're interested in hearing more about that, write in and tell us, and we will do an episode. But until next week, we hope you have enjoyed this episode. Hope it's picked you up out of your mid-year slump, and we'll be back in your ears next week.
Bye.